So maybe you've decided you want to get a Victorinox keychain pocket knife. You think they're pretty useful and you go online to try and pick one out and you realize that there's lots of different kinds available. In this video I'm going to go through the small ones, they call the 58mm range of Victorinox, and go through the capabilities at each price point. I've bought them all here and I've got everything from $15 version all the way up to an $80 version. I'm going to go through the pros and cons of each. I'm going to pick out two that I think are my favorite at two different price points, the two that I'm actually going to keep with me and hold on to, as well as one of the ones that I think is a little bit more gimmicky and the things that you don't need. So let's get started. How's it going, folks? My name's Marcus. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here on this channel, I like to talk about technology, EDC, and anything that can help me live a happier, balanced, more productive life. So let's get stuck in. I've got the Victorinox range of knives here. I've picked them in red, but as you know, you can get these in multiple different colors. I've also decided to go for the red resin. There's also an option for an Alox version where you've got the silver scales that are dented, but I've gone for the more traditional red Victorinox colors just to show you the baseline models within each version, and then you can pick the color or the specific type changes you want to make within that. So getting us started, the very first one I want to go through is the Victorinox Jetsetter. Now this is one I bought for boarding flights. It doesn't have a knife on it. So this is the only one within this range that actually doesn't have a blade. So it does have the famous Victorinox scissors, which I use all the time for trimming nails, cutting small pieces of string, things like that. And it does have a Phillips screwdriver, bottle opener, and wire stripper. Those are the three main tools on this one side, as well as a classic scissors on the other. It's very thin, it's really small, it's got a tweezers within the scales, and it's got a toothpick. And you'll see these as really common tools across the line. These are typical things. Now, as I said, I bought this for going through airport security. I actually have a separate video on that here in terms of how I got through with security, but I have found in general I'm able to get on flights with this. I often get stopped by TSA agents and they're a little bit unsure about letting me through, but when they see it's a tiny scissors, it is within TSA regulations and they should let you board the flight with it on your person. So that's the main purpose for a Jetsetter, is to have it on your keychain if you're boarding a flight and you want to have a little small multi-tool on a flight with you. It is still a risk. But the thing about the Jetsetter is it's only $18, so it's not a massive risk if you lose it either. I've been able to get this on several flights now, and if I do lose it, I'll just buy another one. Next up in the lineup is the Classic. This is the Victorinox Classic. And what you get here is you get your same scissors as you get on the Jetsetter, but on the other side, instead of just getting a flathead screwdriver, you get the Victorinox blade. Victorinox blades are notoriously sharp out of the box. They're absolutely fantastic. They're great for cutting boxes or opening things. Very, very sharp, nice little point on it. But you also get with this one, you get a flathead screwdriver and a nail file. So those are the three main things that you get in the Classic. You also get the pull-out tweezers and the pull-out toothpick. But a very, very basic classic lineup. And this is one of the ones that a lot of people like, because the Classic is less than $25. So a cheap Victorinox pocket knife, it is the Classic and it's very robust. After the Classic, we have the Rally. Now this is something, a bit of an unusual pocket knife because it has the same Phillips screwdriver, wire cutters and bottle opener as you see in the Jetsetter. It has a tweezers. It also has a toothpick within it. It has a blade. It has a flathead screwdriver. But what it doesn't have is the classic Victorinox scissors. Now I'm not sure who this is for, because for me, actually the most used tool on this is my scissors. I use it all the time, the tool and the knife. So the Jetsetter gets a pass because it doesn't have a blade on it, but that's for boarding flights. But I'm not sure why you would take the Rally with you anywhere if it doesn't have a scissors. The whole point is to have a scissors on you, at least it is for me, for a keychain knife. So not sure who it's for, and I certainly wouldn't recommend it, but it is only $18. So I'm sure I'll get hate mail, or I'm sure I'll get people in the comments saying this is their absolute favorite and it's gross to cut your fingernails with a Victorinox scissors, but not really sure who it's for. I just want to take a quick pause from the video to ask you to like and subscribe to this video if you're enjoying this content. I've got a very small channel and you liking this helps the algorithm find me. Okay, back to the content. The next one up though is one that I absolutely love, and this is the Victorinox Rambler. And this is where we get serious. It is notably a little bit heavier than the previous knives I've had before, and it has 4 pullouts on each one. So getting started, nicely it has the Phillips head screwdriver with the wire stripper and the bottle opener. It has the Victorinox blade, both of those are on one side. On the other side, it has the flathead screwdriver along with the nail file, and it has a scissors. And for me, those are the 4 key components that you need to have true utility from one of these knives. Having a flathead, a small Phillips head, a bottle opener, a scissors, and a blade are absolutely key. Having the toothpick is, you know, I feel toothpicks on pocket knives are pretty disgusting. I've never used a toothpick, and I often change out these tools, so I'd probably change out the toothpick, but you've got a tweezers on it as well. So you get a lot of utility from this, and there's a huge fan following of the Rambler online. Again, these are only not super expensive. This is less than $30. When I bought it, it was like $26, $27. So good value for money with the Rambler, and certainly getting into real utility here with something that when you carry it with you is actually really useful in terms of it being EDC. Now we're jumping up a notch in terms of price. So all of these have been somewhere between $17 and $25, $26. After that, you jump up to the Signature Lite. Now the Signature Lite, the reason it's called a Signature Lite is, you guessed it, it actually has a light in it. They've got little LEDs that come with batteries. I haven't put the battery into this one for this case because there's a good chance I'm going to return it. I'm not certain yet. But this is basically a classic. So the classic, remember, you can get for $22, but it's at the $45 price range. So you get your Victorinox blade with it. You get the screwdriver, the flathead screwdriver with the nail file, and you get a scissors, so it ticks the box for most of the things, blade and scissors being important. It doesn't have the Phillips screwdriver that I really wish it did have. It does have a flashlight, which is good, a very dim flashlight. And for me, I'm not certain it's really important to have a flashlight on one of these keychain pocket knives, because if you've got a keychain pocket knife, you probably have your phone with you, and these lights are actually not, for me, as strong as the phone the light that I get on my phone. So they are faster in terms of utility, that it's just on your keychain and you can get there quicker, and with a quick press of the button you can see where you're putting your key in your door or something like that. But I'm not certain about the utility of it. But one thing I do love about this is it has a second thing, and that is it is the first one we have that has a ballpoint pen in it. Now this is very useful. Having a ballpoint pen with you, if you've forgotten your pen or you need to sign something, having a pen can be invaluable. And for the amount of space this takes up, nicely tucked in to the scales here, I think this does make this a valuable piece of kit. But for $45, it's a significant step up, say, from the Rambler, which has all the tools that I would want it to have. And so I wouldn't, as a result, wouldn't make this one of my top picks. Which brings us on to our next one in terms of price, and that is the Victorinox Minichamp, and it truly is a champion here. Now in terms of thickness, you are going up a fair bit, so if we compare it next to, say, the Rambler, which was the one that I said was kind of, I think it has all the tools you need, it's significantly thicker than that. So these two are, you know, it's a chunkier knife, it's definitely a heavier knife. Comparing it to the Classic, it's significantly bigger, so you really know you're carrying it. It doesn't just kind of blend in with your keys, but it is a rock star. And I've actually created a video on why I think this is the only piece of EDC you might need, and I've got that here. I've had a lot of people agree with me, and I've also had a lot of people disagree with me. But let's go through the tools that it has. So the Victorinox Minichamp is about $45 to $50, so in terms of the price range, but it comes with a real bang for its buck. So first of all, it has a slightly different tool. It's got a nail file that comes to a point, and you can use it as a pick. After that, it's got a scalpel blade. So this knife actually has two blades on it for the size of it. This scalpel blade is a flat blade that is really good for cutting through things. In fact, it's not even entirely flat. It does slightly come to a point. It curves down. Really great for carving through, you know, if you need to cut a piece of cardboard or material or something like that. Really powerful at doing that. After that, we've got a seat belt. I've heard various things about this. It's either a seat belt cutter or a box opener. It's a funny shape. I believe in the past it used to be from one of their medical lines where you take the top off a pill bottle, you would poke down to get the cotton wool out of the top of it. So you'd poke it in with this and be able to pull out the cotton wool because it would hook it. But it's got multi-uses. I actually use it mostly for opening boxes. When you've got that sellotape along the top, you can just punch it in the top and drag it down along and it will cut through it. I'm sure it would cut through a seat belt as well if you needed it to. So very versatile little multi-tool. Then we have the flathead screwdriver, and because they've removed the nail file and put it on its own unit, you actually have a measure on one side of it. So it's got millimeters, what is that, inches, 1, 2, what is that? So it's actually got centimeters. Is it centimeters? I think so. 1, 2, 3. It's got a little ruler on one side of it and a flathead screwdriver. And then last of all on this side, it's got a cuticle pusher. So this is for pushing your cuticles back on your nails, apparently. It's kind of this little small spoon unit. It could be used for spooning stuff as well if you needed to. The least used thing I've ever had on a pocket knife. I don't think I've ever opened that out, actually. I've never found a case to use it, but a cuticle pusher if you need it nonetheless. Then on the other side, you've got the really versatile nail clippers. You've got the Phillips screwdriver with the wire stripper, as well as your bottle opener. And last but not least, you've got the classic Victorinox blade. So as I said, 2 blades. So on this knife overall, you've got 2 different type blades. You've got a scissors, you've got that seatbelt cutter / pill bottle, pull the cotton wool out of. You've got your cuticle pusher, you've got a nail file with a point, you've got a flathead screwdriver with a tape measure, and you've got the really versatile Phillips head screwdriver with the bottle opener combo. In addition to all those tools though, you also have the biro, which is incredibly valuable. Being able to use that biro on the go, and yes, you can change it. There are refills for this that you can buy online, is really useful. And on the other side, you have the tweezers. So no even toothpick, nothing like that is not useful. And for me, this is probably the most useful Victorinox you can buy for $45. I think it's fantastic. Now I do want to point out 2 things. There is another step you can take which I don't think you need to do, but you can get the Midnight Minichamp, which is at less than $80. So same as the Minichamp I just went through, it's the Midnight version, so it has a flashlight on it. So you put the battery in, you've got a flashlight, and instead of having a tweezers, you have a flashlight on one side, and on the other side you have the biro. So it has all the exact same tools that I just talked to you about from the Minichamp, which is a $45 hero, and for almost twice the price of it you can add a flashlight and lose the tweezers. I honestly would vouch for having the tweezers. Like I said, I don't think it's worth the money upgrade, and I think if you have a phone with you, you don't really need to have a flashlight on it. Now, one honourable mention that I wasn't actually able to buy because they didn't have it in stock at the time is the Midnight Manager. So if you are dead set on having a pocket knife that has a flashlight on it and you want to have something that has the Rambler capabilities, so going back to the Rambler, which I said I thought it has everything you could probably need, which is, just to remind you, the flathead, the scissors, the Phillips screwdriver, and the knife. If you wanted to have that, but you also wanted to have a tweezers and a light, you're able to get the Midnight Manager, and that's for $55. So if you really like the sound of the Rambler, but you also want to have a flashlight on it, there is that option available to you. I just wasn't able to get it in stock just for this to shoot this video. Now the last one I have on here is a little bit of an unusual one. This is the one that I've been shining on you and I've had for a long time. This one here is called the Midnight Manager at Work. So I'm able to show you what it would look like to get the Midnight Manager, but this is going to be a much thicker option than the one you'll end up buying, because the at work option gives us one unusual tool which I want to go through. So of course you've got the Phillips screwdriver, you've got the knife, you've got the scissors, and you've got the flathead screwdriver like I talked about before. You have the pen, which is incredibly invaluable, and you have a flashlight. But it's also got one more capability, which today is probably not as useful as it was when I first bought it, but it has a USB-C on it. So this is a USB-C, so it's got USB-A or USB-C. This is the 16 gigabyte version. And this was when I used to go into the office and I would be carrying data between home and the office. Honestly, it was before cloud was as prolific as it is. And it used to be great to be able to plug in presentations if I was going somewhere. If I was bringing data home with me, I would stick it on this key and bring it home to work on my home computer and would just hang off my keychain. Not something I carry around so much anymore because honestly the world has changed, but I felt it would be remiss not to show it. But basically this is what the Midnight Manager would look like, obviously minus the USB key. A lot of functionality in it, basically a Rambler with a light, and that's what you're getting for your money. So I've gone through all of them, but which are the two, if you're still a little bit unsure about which is the exact one for you, my 2 top picks in this group, if it's not obvious, is number 1, the Rambler. It's like $25, $26. I think it has everything you need, and for the size, it's absolutely tiny on your keychain. Probably the best bang for your buck and will get you out of every situation you have. However, if you can afford a bit more and you're willing to go for the extra weight, $45, the one that I love, because it has a biro, in addition to a bunch of tools that I might not actually need, I actually like having the Minichamp with me. I think the Minichamp is the best 58mm pocket knife you can get, and you can't really go wrong. For $45, if you're looking to buy someone a gift for Thanksgiving or Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever it is you celebrate, I think anybody's going to be happy with this. It's genuinely a surprise out of the box. It feels like pure quality, and this is the one I'm going to be keeping out of all of this lineup, in addition to the Rambler, for my own personal collection. So which are the ones that you like best? What colors would you buy them in? What are some of the things that I've forgotten here, or some of the things that I've mistaken? I'd love to hear your comments below. How is it that you carry your Victorinox, or what are the other products that you use instead because you think they're better? Alright, hope you enjoyed the video. Good luck.